After Kristallnacht had allowed 10,000 children, but not their parents, to escape Nazism in what was called the Kindertransport. In February 1939, Democratic Senator Robert Wagner of New York and Republican Congresswoman Edith Norse Rogers of Massachusetts introduced a new bill.
The bill says let's let in 10,000 kids between the age of 5 and 14 per year, 1939 and 1940, and let's not count them against the immigration quota system.
The First Lady backed the bill. Her husband privately offered advice on how it might be passed, but said nothing in public. But the American Legion, the Daughters of the American Revolution, and the American Coalition of Patriotic Societies were all opposed. They had favored some of the 60 bills that had recently been introduced to reduce immigration quotas.
It's a xenophobic refusal. I can't explain it because it seems so cruel to me, especially given a country as big as the United States with plenty of space. I do understand it in terms of anti-Semitism. I don't want to understand that anti-Semitism could be so deep and so cruel.
If I know the American public who fought the League of Nations propagandists.
Father Coughlin called for the creation of a national Christian front to combat the influence of what he called communistic Jews, and claimed to his vast radio audience that Jewish businessmen were firing their Christian employees to make room for Jewish refugees.
There is still the United States Senate with whom these forces must contend.
The restrictionists, people who want to restrict immigration, the isolationists, the anti-Semites come out of the woodwork.
Back to Jimmy.
So just continue this. So the Israeli military launched airstrikes in Doha, Qatar, on Tuesday in an attempt to target Hamas political leadership, marking a major Israel escalation in the region that dims any hope of a ceasefire in Gaza. Because they don't want a ceasefire in Gaza. They want to take over Gaza completely, and the West Bank, and parts of Syria, Lebanon, parts of Iran, Egypt. It's called the Greater Israel Project. A source told Al Jazeera that the attacks occurred while Hamas officials were gathered to discuss a ceasefire proposal. So the United States comes up with a ceasefire proposal. They get the leaders of Hamas in Qatar so that we can discuss it, and then Israel bombs them. So this is bad for the United States that this is happening.
Is it? We do this all the time.
A member of Hamas's political bureau said Hamas's leadership survived the attack, while the son of the acting Hamas political bureau chief was killed, along with several of his aides. Qatar's interior ministry said that the Qatari security officer was also killed in an attack. Hamas later issued a statement that said none of its political leaders were killed in the attack. It said a total of 6 people were killed, including El Hayya's son, 4 office staff, and a Qatari officer. According to Israeli media, Israel warplanes dropped more than 10 bombs on a residential building where where Israel believed Hamas leaders were gathering. An area of so this is the worst thing you could do is try to bomb diplomats as they're trying to. This is the worst. This just goes to show you that Israel is the terrorist. The United States are also the terrorists enabling this, and that we don't want peace, and we want to set the whole, destabilize the whole Middle East, which is what Israel and all our wars have done. Whether it was Iraq twice, whether it was Iran in 1953, whether it's Libya, whether it's Syria. Qatar has hosted Hamas office since 2012, a step it took. So there is a Hamas office in Qatar, but that's at the urging of the United States to please have that office. Sources told Middle East Eye President Trump blessed the attack on Qatar, which is a major non-NATO ally of the United States and hosts about 10,000 U.S. troops. Although U.S. officials speaking to other media outlets claim that the U.S. was notified while Israel warplanes were in the air. So did they tell Trump ahead of time and he was okay with it, or did they tell Trump after they were already doing the attack? White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt later commented on the attack, saying it doesn't advance U.S. and Israel. Here's what she said.
This morning, the Trump administration was notified by the United States military that as Israel was attacking Hamas, which very unfortunately was located in a section of Doha, the capital of Qatar.
I like how she says unfortunately. So it was just bad luck that Qatar happened to be hosting the Hamas negotiations like we asked Qatar to do? You mean that kind of unfortunately? Unfortunately, they were doing the thing we asked them to do, and then Israel bombed them in the place we asked them to be.
Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States, that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal. President Trump immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack. President Trump wants all of the hostages in Gaza and the bodies of the dead released, and this war to end now. President Trump also spoke to Prime Minister Netanyahu.
Yeah, so that's why you have negotiations. That's why you have a Hamas negotiators in Qatar to negotiate the peace plan put forth by the United States. And then Israel bombs them. So you see why there's not going to be peace? It's not because of Hamas. It's because of the United States and Israel. Do you understand this? So she's still trying to pretend like this is Hamas's fault and we got to get to peace. The last thing Benjamin Netanyahu wants is peace. That's why he's bombing the peace negotiators in an ally country that were asked to be there by the United States. Negotiating a peace deal presented by Donald Trump.
After the attack, the Prime Minister told President Trump that he wants to make peace, and quickly. President Trump believes this unfortunate incident could serve as an opportunity for peace. The president also spoke to the Emir and Prime Minister of Qatar and thanked them for their support and friendship to our country. He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Or he's gonna get really mad at Benjamin Netanyahu the next time he does it? Yank. The Prime Minister of Israel said it was a wholly independent Israel operation. Israel initiated, Israel conducted it, and Israel takes full responsibility. Yeah, so they're a terrorist state. That's what they're bombing peace negotiations. Trump recently issued a statement demanding Hamas accept his ceasefire proposal, which he said was his last warning for the group. Hamas responded to Trump's statement by saying it was ready to immediately enter negotiations. Okay, let's do it. The proposal that the U.S. put forward called for Hamas to release all the remaining Israeli captives without a guarantee for an Israeli withdrawal from Gaza and a permanent ceasefire. In the United States, if the United States and Israel coordinated on the strike in Doha, it would mark the second time this year the two countries used negotiations as a cover for an attack. They did it in Lebanon. Israel launched a 12-day war on Iran on June 13th among U.S. and Iran nuclear negotiations, 2 days before the U.S. and Iran were set to hold another round of talks. The attack on Doha also has implications for the U.S. relationship with the Gulf Arab allies, although the fact that Israel warplanes would have had to use Arab airspace to launch the strike suggests there may have been some cooperation. Qatar said it condemned in the strongest terms the cowardly Israeli attack and said it was a blatant violation of all international laws and norms. The state of Qatar affirms that it will not tolerate the reckless Israel behavior, and it continued tampering with regional security as well as any action targeting its security and sovereignty. Breaking news. Here's the Qatar Prime Minister, Mohammed bin Abdulrahman, I can't say his name, says that the U.S. warned them about the attack 10 minutes after it began, despite the White House saying they gave Qatar advance notice.
Holy
Here it is.
Shit.
The attack happened at 3:46. The first call we had from an American official was at 3:56, which is 10 minutes after the attack. And after that, President Trump has spoken with His Highness the Emir. He condemned the attack, and the U.S. government positioned that they have no knowledge about the attack nor any coordination about it until it started to happen. Now, when they got the alert, when the alert has reached us, that's an information that I don't know right now. What I know that the official channels that we have with the U.S. Got notified by the U.S. after the attack by 10 minutes.
So, breaking, Trump said his tip to Qatar came too late to stop the attack, backtracking on an earlier White House claims that Doha was warned in advance, a claim Qatar has firmly denied. Trump says the decision to strike Qatar was made by Netanyahu and not by him. U.S. President Trump said Tuesday Israel's decision Blah, 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 blah. Washington counts Qatar as a strong Gulf ally. Qatar has been mediator in trying to arrange a deal for a ceasefire between Israel and Palestinian military group. After the strike, Trump spoke to both Netanyahu and the Emir of Qatar. He assured Qatar's leader that such a thing will not happen again on their soil. And he said he felt very badly about the location of the attack. Trump later told reporters in Washington he was not thrilled about the Israeli strike on Qatar. Yeah, how many times are you going to say this? So let's watch.
About the Israeli strike earlier today.
Well, I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled about it. I don't have to do that. I'm not thrilled about the whole situation. It's not a good situation. But I will say this: we want the hostages back, but we are not thrilled about the way that went down today.
Slash aircraft carrier.
Israel's bomb. This is Jeremy Cormid. Israel has bombed Qatar, a sovereign nation. This reckless act of escalation is a disgraceful and deliberate attempt to destroy any chances of a ceasefire. It is clear Israel has no intention of ending its campaign of genocide and ethnic cleansing. End all arms sales now. Breaking China official statement on Qatar bombing. Israel's bombing of Doha is extremely dangerous and proves that there are no limits to Israelis' violations of the rules. Congrats to Israel for violating Vienna Convention and state sovereignty for bombing 9 countries in 1 year. They've bombed Palestine, Gaza, and the West Bank. They bombed Lebanon, Yemen, Syria, Iran, Iraq, Tunisia, Portugal, and Qatar. Only Israel can bomb 9 countries and still be perceived as the victim. The Arabs continue to overlook a fundamental reality. Regardless of how much you cater to Israel's interest or seek peace with it, you are still viewed as nothing but goyim by the Zionist entity. The assault on Qatar exemplifies this clearly. Netanyahu says he's on a historic and spiritual mission, feels a connection to vision of greater Israel. So, here it is. Is that it? Yeah. We just want peace. Yeah, they want a piece of Jordan. They want a piece of Syria. They want a piece of Lebanon.
Yeah, this reminds me of Bill Maher laughing at Islam being the religion of peace.
Yeah.
And as it turns out, the region has a lot of that going around, ain't there?
Again, the terrorists, by the way, were invented by the United States and Israel. The Al-Qaeda, the ISIS, invented, and now we're in bed with them in Syria.
Well, Saudi Pakistan helped. It
Saudi,
takes a village.
Yeah, it takes a village. Coalition of the willing. And, people like Bill Maher and Sam Harris like to pretend that it's their religion.
Yeah, this is just a religious dispute. That's all it is.
It's just a religious... No, this is the Greater Israel Project, and the people who are the homicidal terrorists is Israel and the United States. Okay. And if you want to hear me make jokes about this, you can hear me in Chicago, Rosemont, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, and San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Over to Steph.
Okay, so you ready to go to Rumble?
Let me do one more story.
Okay, one more story. Okay, stand by. Just making sure. All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Oh, there's a lot going on here. You see the video of UAP hit by Hellfire missile? Eric wants to know. Kurt is quite the gentleman. He pours salt water on his lap to keep... Okay, unvaccinated guy.
Salt water on my lap to do what?
To keep the crabs fresh.
What?
I know.
No, crabs are going extinct. You know that? They are. Like how they said the polar bear, but for real. They are.
Oh, Misha thinks they are extinct. W. Epps, thank you.
Are they already extinct now?
That's what Misha's saying.
What are extinct?
Crabs, because of all the pube shaving.
Unvaccinated guy says Misha's feet
is that
are
true?
So small.
Yes, that's what they say. They want extinct.
I mean, I guess I'm glad an unvaccinated guy does this instead of being a pay pig for some online thought.
Okay, so
you guys probably more healthy, I think, right?
This is a shout out to you, Misha. Misha's feet are so small. She can't stomp on grapes to make wine. She stomps on raisins to make hooch. unvaccinated guy.
That's just such an insult.
Oh, she's
I
insulted
would've
by
done-
that one. Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't accept
Reef.
any foot messages.
Reef 5, disappointed. Thank you, Reef. Fly, thank you, Fly. Kerp should debate Nick since he hates him and Catholicism so much.
Well, I don't hate him. Shit. I also don't want to debate anyone. I don't do debates. It's like a rose battle?
Right.
You just explained to me how I'm wrong, and I'll be happy that you corrected me with your better thing than I thought. I don't understand what the debate shit is.
Yeah.
It's like when I told Dave Smith not to debate Dan Bilzerian. Somebody came to him with that?
Yeah, how about conversations? Hey, Beach says confirmed Charlie Kirk has passed away. Okay, let's go here. Back to Jimmy.
So I just told you about how Israel bombed Qatar, where Hamas leaders were there trying to work on a peace deal that Donald Trump proposed. And they were there at the behest of Donald Trump in the United States. And then Israel bombed a peace meeting of diplomats trying to come to a peace negotiation. And that's because Israel is a terrorist and they don't want any peace negotiated. That's why. And why is that extra bad for the United States? So here's why this is extra bad. So it says Israel strike targets Hamas leadership in Qatar, a Gaza war mediator. So that's what. So remember that Qatar agreed to host the Hamas political office in Doha and pay civil service salaries in Gaza before 2023 with the explicit support of Israel and the United States, not because Qatar openly supports Hamas, but because everyone agreed that this was useful to have a space to talk. So that's why there's Hamas offices in Qatar, because everyone from Israel and the United States asked Qatar to host them so we could have a space to talk.
How would Bibi pay Hamas if not for Qatar, the go-between, bringing the briefcases of cash to Hamas to support Hamas to have Hamas attack Israel? Qatar's like not even a country. It's like one family is the whole country. They literally just do this.
And so here is the Qatar prime minister confirms that the United States put the Hamas office in Doha.
You have a Hamas office here, and Hamas has been designated, I think, repeatedly by the U.S. government, and certainly by the Congress, as a terror organization. And people say, well, how could you have a Hamas office here? What is that?
We have to go back to the root of this office. Like, why it's here in the first place? And Hamas office, when it was opened here in the first place, it was opened with full transparency and full consultation and actually even request from the U.S.
The U.S. asked you to put a Hamas office here?
They have asked us to open the channels with them and to have an established communication channel with the same case what was applied to Taliban as well. At the end of the day, if you have a presence of someone in your country and you are engaging and talking, it doesn't mean that you are endorsing his ideas. It doesn't mean that you are supporting him. The purpose of this office was to facilitate peace, to stabilize the region, and to make sure that always it's serving the purpose.
Friend of the show, Ryan Grimm reports, here's what just happened. Trump sent a peace deal to Hamas. Hamas met to discuss it in Doha, where the U.S. is mediating talks and has a base, and Israel bombed them, presumably with U.S. support. The strike in Doha was aimed at Hamas negotiators who were gathered to discuss Trump's ceasefire offer, according to a Hamas official speaking to Al Jazeera, much as Trump carried out fake nuclear talks with Iran in order to kill Iranian negotiators. That might explain why Trump's offer was so short and scant on details. The whole point was to gather people together to discuss the peace offer so they could get them all together and kill them. Israel is taking credit for the attack, citing October 7th, though most of all Doha didn't even know about 10/7 until it happened. IDF and the so this is what the IDF and ISA announced. The IDF and ISA conducted a precise strike targeting the senior leadership of the Hamas terrorist organization as they were at peace negotiations. For years, these members of Hamas leadership have led the terrorist organization's operations, are directly responsible for the brutal October 7th massacre, and have been orchestrating and managing the war against the state of Israel. Prior to the strike, measures were taken in order to mitigate harm to civilians. You know how Israel likes to mitigate harm to civilians, including the use of precise munitions and additional intelligence. The IDF, the ISA will continue to operate with determination in order to defeat Hamas terrorists. So you're not supposed to do that at a peace negotiation. This is becoming the Trump signature move, the same modus operandi he used with Iran, now deployed against Hamas, pretending he wanted to engage in diplomacy as a trap to facilitate bombing them. So you know what this means is that no one's ever going to enter into a peace negotiation again with the United States because they're going to fear they're going to be bombed.
Why did they ever? When has the United States kept a treaty that you can recall? I can't.
So here's what Arno says. He says, which reinforces the precedent. Engaging in diplomacy with the United States is now worse than useless. It's actually fatal, which is a precedent that's bad for everyone. This is why it's bad for the United States. U.S. first and foremost, not exactly in its interest to teach the lesson, never negotiate with America, because that's what Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu are right now teaching the world. Never negotiate with the United States, because if you try to negotiate with us, we're going to bomb you and kill you.
I'm going to have to put this on the world, Jimmy, because they should have learned that from Libya and Serbia
exactly
and all
right.
the other multiple places that wanted to negotiate that we double-crossed and blew up anyway. Why do they not know this at this point?
So, and how bad is this? Even in medieval Europe, in the darkest days of the so-called Dark Ages, rulers were honor-bound not to violate diplomatic immunity, and common sense bound too, as they understood it wasn't in their interest to be known as oath breakers. Heck,
you're talking about Israel.
Heck, even the Mongols, not exactly known as sentimental humanitarians, understood that killing envoys was idiotic. Because it makes everyone less safe. And then you can never get to a peace deal.
The Mongols, as a matter of fact, did their most brutality for the crimes Israel just committed.
Yes.
That's when the Mongols got real brutal for that.
When the U.S. is failing a moral test that the Mongol Empire passed, it's time to ask ourselves a few questions. So we're worse than the Mongols. We're the terrorists. We're the psychopaths. Don't forget,
Israel doesn't have things like honor. I mean, just even bring up honor. We're talking about Israel here. They will do literally anything. In fact, they're proud of it. And people go, well, don't they have to do absolutely anything, including violate every single law we came up with after the Holocaust to prevent another Holocaust?
Don't forget, so this is the pattern of Donald Trump in the United States. Don't forget North Korea. While he was pretending to negotiate with Kim, the civilian fishermen were killed and mutilated by SEAL Team 6, even when they knew the mission had failed and there was no need to proceed. Don't forget Soleimani. You remember that? The Iranian general who was in Iraq for discussions with his U.S. counterpart on Iraq, Syria, and ISIS, suffered the same fate.
Yeah.
Don't forget Gaddafi. When he was killed, he was also negotiating with the United States to give up his biological weapons program and open up his economy to U.S. oil companies. At this point, it's the rest of the world which is composed of fools who can't see the modus operandi. Regardless of the authoritarian dictatorship of these individuals, you do not break the code of honor and tradition that even the absolute scum tend to follow. You do not harm envoys or diplomats or messengers, period.
Yeah, we do. America and Israel have done that habitually for many years.
Yeah, yes, I know, Kurt, but you understand that's not what I'm saying, right?
I meant that guy who tweeted, not you.
Okay.
I mean you.
I mean, here's Rick Sanchez. Here's what he has to say.
Happen in Doha, right? What's going on in Qatar? Here's what we know. Just like the Native Americans, just like Gorbachev, just like the Russians in the 90s, just like the Iranians, it appears that the Qataris and the Hamas negotiators were played. They were fooled. They were hoodwinked. And maybe they should have listened to the immortal words of another famous American, right? Not just Pompeo, maybe somebody bigger. How about somebody like George Walker Bush when he said this?
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Huh? Anyway, I think somehow the Qataris maybe get the picture.
Sturgeon's Law says much of the world's takeaway from the U.S. greenlighting the assassination of Hamas political leadership during negotiations will be that negotiating with the United States and its rabid client, Israel, can be as dangerous as war with it. As usual, the United States pays a steep price for Israel's sake. That's exactly right.
No price is too steep, Jimmy, when it comes to Israel getting every little thing that the craziest people that live there want.
Yep. So, and believe me, there's a false flag coming. There's a false flag coming so that it will be understandable when something horrible happens in a major city.
Well, the Samson option, if Israel's ever going to lose,
that's right.
They're going to blow up everything around them.
And if you'd like me to talk about why it's okay for you to hate all these people and Israel and Zionism, you come see me tell jokes in Chicago, Louisville, Fort Wayne, Hermosa Beach, California, Sacramento, and San Francisco. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. Let's go to, I guess we're going to go to Rumble.
Are you ready to go to Rumble?
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm
let
ready.
me pin this tweet just so everybody... Here we go. That's the link that I just posted, ladies and gentlemen. And then it's going to... One more thing I have to refresh. Stand by. All right, we'll see you at Rumble.
Microplastics are infiltrating every part of our lives. Scientists estimate we now consume a credit card's worth of plastic every single week through our food, our water, and even the air we breathe. One study found plastic particles in 100% of human lung samples. Nobody's safe from overexposure. It gets worse. These plastics just don't sit in your body. They cross the gut lining, they leach into your blood, and disrupt everything. They've been shown to alter gut bacteria, suppress your immune response, and increase your risk for neurodegenerative disease, metabolic disorders, and cancer. Some plastic toxins like BPA and phthalates mimic hormones, interfere with fertility, and damage DNA. Even if you eat clean or avoid packaged foods, you're still being exposed. You can't opt out. But your gut can help you fight back. Kimchi One from Brightcore Nutrition is a potent ally in this toxic world. It's packed with over 900 probiotic strains unique to kimchi and proven to break down BPA, helping you detox from the inside out. It doesn't just support digestion, it helps protect your cells, your brain, your hormones, and your future. Your body was never designed to handle plastic, but your gut was designed to protect you. You just have to give it the right tools. Right now, you can get 25% off with my code DORE, D-O-R-E, at the link below. For an even better deal, call my friends at Brightcore and get up to 50% off and free shipping. The number, 888-253-0418. Think the Genius Act will protect your privacy from prying eyes and politicians? Think again. Politicians are pushing CBDCs, digital dollars they can track and control. The so-called Genius Act is nothing more than a Band-Aid, like a CBDC, zero privacy and control over your digital currency. Plus, if a Genius Act stablecoin company collapses, there's zero FDIC insurance. That means your digital savings can disappear overnight with no protection. Privacy is already slipping away. Visit jimmylovesgold.com or call 800-476-7790 and discover how to secure your wealth. Go to jimmylovesgold.com or call 800-476-7790 and discover how to secure wealth you can hold in your hand, not just digits on a screen. Hey everybody, it's Jimmy. That's me, Jimmy Dore. That's right. I'm the host of the Jimmy Dore Show. Did you know that? We know you're proud to be a fan and a supporter of the show, but do your friends, your family, your neighbors, and random strangers you pass on the street, do they know? Maybe not. And just as you like to keep informed by watching the Jimmy Dore Show, you can inform all those important and not so important people in your life about your love of the show with one of these. Huh? It's the authentic and branded Jimmy Dore Show t-shirts. We've got the classic logo, Jimmy Dore, and we also have the Jimmy Dore Show pop art. Look at that. Look at that. Nice, huh? And we also have one of my favorites. It's the Frederick Douglass quote. I would unite with anybody to do right and with nobody to do wrong. It's all available now at our website. Just go to jimmydore.com, then shop the merch, and you'll see there and many more options. And just click on mugs. Also, how about mugs? We got the mugs made in America. This is one of my favorites. It says "Vaxxed and Worried." Nice. We also have
that'll go over big with the guests. Their
my
friends at the
This
office.
is a great mug. It says "Made in America" on the bottom. Jagoff, very thick, nice handle, thick glass. I love this one. Plus, we have stuff like this over there.
Mouse pad.
Mouse pads. You got your Jimmy Dore Show stickers and logos, and you got your what do you call those?
Coaster.
Coasters. Look at that. Look at this. Coasters, more coasters. So, and so what are you waiting for? Get your Jimmy Dore Show t-shirt, mugs, coasters. Go get them today, jimmydore.com.